Okay, what is IELTS writing task 2? So IELTS writing task 2, you do understand it's an essay. And what would be the difference between task 1 and task 1? So it's quite clear that task 1 that was a visual description, and now task 2, when we talk about task 2, so it's a type of an essay. So it's an essay responding to a particular question. And then the word limit, you do know that we had to write down 150 words, but for your task 2, we need to write 250 words. So time limit, you had 20 minutes time for your task 1 and 40 minutes time for task 2. But keep in your mind that your task 2, it was double, clear? So for example, if the score is 100, so 66% of your score goes to task 2 and 33% score that is for your task 1. Uh, your task 2 is general topic like education, health, government, clear, different type of topics it can be, but task 1 that was data or processes. So I have clearly mentioned here that task 2 is worth twice as much as task 1. So even though I suggest you that in your IELTS actual exam, what you people can do, you can write task 2 first, then task 1. Okay, this is what these are the numbers that you must know. First of all, this is what like now we want to enter to your task 2. The first part that the time, clear time you may spend on task 2, that is 40 minutes time. Total time you can spend, that's 40 minutes time. And minimum words you can write 250. But I don't suggest you writing more than 270, clear, because if you cross that, so 300 words means more mistakes, 250 words mean less mistake. So it should be in between like 270 to 290 words. And if you write less than 250, so there is penalty. So make sure your words, they are not less than 250 and not more than 270 to 280. Then how many paragraphs we need to write? There are 4 paragraphs, the way we had written for your task 1. We need to write 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is an introduction, then main body paragraph 1, main body paragraph 2, and the final one, that is conclusion. And there are 4 marking criteria, the same way we had for your IELTS writing task 1. First of all, equal, clear, equal percentage of score. That is 25% for each TR, task response, 25% for coherence and cohesion, and then 25% for vocabulary and 25% for your grammar. Then, as I told you earlier, the task 2 double the weight of task 1. And type of questions, you can have 5 different types of questions in your task 2. You can have either opinion type of question, discussion type of questions. You may have problem and solutions, advantages and disadvantages, or you may have double questions. And then it comes about your band. You do understand that ranges from 1 to 9. And we don't have clear. If you write more than 250 words, no penalty for that. But keep in your mind that if you write down less than 250, then you will get less score. But don't write more words. That's what I have written here. First of all, aim for 250, 270 to 290 words. Under 250, clear. So under 250 words mean penalty. And over 300 words is equal to more chances, clear, of errors and than wastage of time as well. So the sweet spot is 250 to 270 words. And then what actually we mean that, Claire? Uh, can you give me 4 5 minutes? طب كان إذا class ختمون بيقبل لكم. So كان ده كان بس شابوس كان. وقبل لكم. ذات أدوار قبل لكم. Then what we have, that's why task 2 matters more than you think. What's the reason behind that? As I told you, task 2 carries double the weight of task 1. What does it mean? For example, if there is a student and he achieves 5 band in task 1 and 7 band in task 2, and as I told you, Claire, so task 2 that carries double the weight of task 1, so is equal to your overall band, you may get 6.5. In fact, you have achieved 5 band in task 1. But what if you achieve 7 band in task 1 and your task 2 score is 5 band? So your overall band would be 5 point and 5 band only. So make sure, what did I say? So your task 2 matters more. If there is 6 band, 6, so overall can be 6 band. And this is what I have mentioned here, that common mistake. Many students spend too long on task 1. like for example 30 minutes time, then 30 minutes, and then rush to task 2, since task 2 worth clear is worth double. So this is a disaster for your score. So make sure what I suggest you, what is my rule and what I tell my students. If you struggle with time management, do task 2 first. This is allowed by Ielts. Clear? It's totally allowed by Ielts. Start with task 2, 40 minutes time, then do task 1, 20 minutes. This ensures your most valuable task gets your best effort and full time allocation. So what I suggest to you, you can perform task 2 first, then you may go towards your task 1. Okay. As I told you that your eyes writing clear task 2, uh, what is more important that there are four marking criteria in each word 25%. So the first marking criterion, that is task response. The first one is task response. The second one is grammar. The third one is vocabulary, and the fourth one is CC. Then one by one, like I will share you, Claire, I will share you for the task response and all this marking criteria complete chapter. You people can study by your own. What is an net, Claire? Task response. So I can go through like specifically, Claire, what I can give you. This is what like task response, they ask you 15 task response mistakes that usually students they do. The rest of the topics you can study, like you just may go through, Claire, and you will understand, because if I keep discussing all these things, so it takes too long time. As I mentioned, task response is the first band descriptor examiner check before you look at it. Before, Claire, they look at your grammar, vocabulary, or coherence and cohesion. They ask one question: did the candidate actually answer the question? This is important part. If the answer is no, that if you haven't answered the question, Claire, so what is going to happen? The maximum possible score is 5 band then. No matter how beautiful your grammar is, your grammar, your vocabulary, but if you score less, Clay, you haven't answered the question properly, so you may conclude with low band. Task response is equal to 25% of your task 2 score. It is worth exactly the same as all your grammar and all your vocabulary combined. So make sure, Claire, that what actually 5 band and 6 band and 7 and 8 and 9 band task response means. You people can study. If you study, you go through this, so you will understand it. And this is three criteria examiner checks and order. Number one, did you address all parts of the question? Examiner, he asked about, for example, advantages and disadvantages of something. So have you answered the advantages in one paragraph? Have you described the disadvantages? So if that's about problem and solution, have you explained properly both problems and solutions paragraphs? If it's about opinion or it's about anything, so have you addressed all parts of the question, and is your position clear throughout? Have you answered that? We will talk about in thesis statement. And are your ideas fully developed or supported? For example, you presented one of the topic. So if you have written one of the topics, so have clear, are your ideas fully developed? Like, if have you just only mentioned names, or have you kept explaining and providing examples, etc.? So this is what examiner he's looking at, and then there is a difference between 5 band and 9 band task response. Clear? What is the gap? If you go through, you will understand. And these are the clear 15 task response mistakes and how to fix them. I have clearly mentioned them. If you go through, so you can understand them properly. After this, if you move on, we move on to the next part, and the next part is about your CC, coherence and cohesion. Again, coherence and cohesion, Claire, carries 15% of your score. So coherence and cohesion, what does it mean? This measures, is your essay logically organized? Are paragraphs used correctly? Or do ideas, Claire, flow smoothly? These are the questions where examiner he asks. 5 band, 6 band, 7, and then what actually it is. There are two parts, Claire. One we call cohesion, and the second part is called coherence. There are two parts. And together, both of them, cohesion and coherence, Claire, both together, Claire, form 25% of your IELTS writing task 2 score. And many students, they are confused, Claire, about these two terms. Number one, coherence, and number two, cohesion. And let me explain it for you people. The first part, coherence, this is the big picture. This is the big picture. Now, what I mean by big picture, How your ideas flow logically from one to the next. Your essay must have a clear structure, like, for example, introduction. Now, first of all, we need to write an introduction. What if I fail to write down an introduction? And there could be main body paragraph one, and then main body paragraph two, and then the final one we can have conclusion. So there are four clear paragraphs we need to write them. So four paragraph. This is the structure. This is the big like clear. I have explained it down. You will understand. And then the cohesion means what? The sentence level tools, the linking words, pronouns, synonyms, and the glue your sentences together. Now, let's take like one of the example, and this example can give you a bit more clear picture. Coherence means what? Coherence. Suppose coherence, the architectural clear blueprint, like for example, room, layout, logical flow. And cohesion means what? The summit. What you link, what you glue, clear, that can be in between sentences like nails, glue holding the breaks together, etc. So coherence is all about like introduction, main body paragraph. This is something like you, the complete clear I would say, architectural structure, the big one. They can be the first part clear, introduction, main body paragraph one, main body paragraph two, and then there should be conclusion. And how to clear, how to, there should be proper, like the sentences you glue together, clear. For that purpose, what we use? We use that of cohesion, like linkers, linking words. If you want to give examples, so how you can link that. If you want to go with something like contrast ideas, so how to link contrast ideas. If there are similar ideas, so how to link them. So linking ideas with the help of what? So we call that cohesion. Suppose benign does not mean using more linkers. This is what important thing. Usually students, they believe that if I try to use more linkers, I may get 9 band. No, this is something like most of the students, they make mistake, and that's one of the reasons that students, they get low band. Band 9 does not mean more using more clear linkers. It means using them invisibly. There's something very important that you need to understand. What, like usually we are told, and if you watch any of the videos on YouTube, etc., clear. So most of the time you will hear that the teachers, they force students to use more linkers and use those linkers. They are quite clear and vivid, but that's totally wrong. What we can do, and instead of that, something that what I tell you, it's more about clear. When you want to use linkers, try to use them clear and visibly. If your examiner notices you are linking words, you probably clear overusing them. So cohesion clear should feel like breathing. It should be natural and unnoticed. If your cohesions are felt by the examiner, it means you have overused them. And overusage of cohesion means what? That you will get low band instead of what? Instead of achieving high band in IELTS. So then there are different linkers. I will share the list of linkers. First of all, some of the linkers we use for additional linkers, and you can study addition and addition, moreover, etc. Then there would be another linker that how to use contrast linkers, like however clear. This is a complete list. And then we can have linkers for causes and effects, because due to clear as a result, etc. And then you can also have linkers, for example, if you want to provide examples, so what type of linkers we can use. And after this, there could be sequence clear and emphasizes linkers, like firstly, secondly, thirdly, clear, indeed, in fact, particularly, especially. And then I have given you some of the examples. You people, if you go through them, so you will understand. And there can be some conclusion linkers and conclusion, etc. So these are the linkers. They are important to be used. And after linkers, what is more important for you people? This is very important. Look, with linkers, usually students, they focus more on linkers, but they avoid clear using pronouns. Proper pronouns is very important. Using pronouns help you there. Using pronouns are also like, it help you to keep things glue, like your one sentence with another with the help of pronouns. For example, you should know about pronouns, but try not to use personal pronouns. We never use personal pronouns. What I mean by personal pronouns means you cannot say he or she. Clear? You can use general pronouns like it or they, but not he or she or me. Clear? Never use me, etc. Instead of that, you can use some general generic one. And you can use demonstrative pronouns, or you should know about how to use substitutions. One by one, we will study about them. Referencing, Claire, is the invisible glue of writing. This is what examiner is, he loves the most in IELTS writing. Uh, it links sentences without using linking words. Look, as I told you earlier, जैसे मैंने शुरू में कहा कि अगर एग्जामिनर को ये पता लग रहा है कि ये बंदा ज्यादा लिंकर्स इस्तेमाल कर रहा है जो हमें मतलब बताया जा रहा है, एंड दैट्स व्हाट लाइक वी ऑलवेज फील एंड वी ट्राई टू यूज देम, क्लियर, एंड हम बड़े फख्र से इस्तेमाल करते हैं कि मैंने काफी बड़े बड़े लिंकर्स यूज किए, मोर ओवर, फर्दर मोर, एटसेट्रा. सो दैट कैन नॉट हेल्प यू अचीव हाई बैंड. एग्जामिनर को क्या चीज पसंद है? उन्हें ये चीज पसंद है कि आप लिंकर्स इस्तेमाल करें लेकिन विदाउट नोटिसिंग, क्लियर, विदाउट लाइक एग्जामिनर को ये पता भी ना चले कि आपने ये इस्तेमाल किया हुआ है, लेकिन फिर भी आपने अपने सेंटेंसेस को प्रॉपर तरीके से लिंक किया हुआ है. This is what like that's important. So it links sentences without using linking words by referring what? Back to the ideas already mentioned. For example, pronouns refers he, she, it, they. Never use he, she. Try to use what? It and they. Let's take example here. Governments should invest in education. Can you see now the topic is what? Government. So if governments, that's plural, should invest in education, they must also provide training programs. They have used they. So now what for we have used this they? We have used for governments. So can I, what if I write again the governments? So now can I repeat it? No, we never repeat again and again. Try to avoid repetition. So instead of that, I have used they. So now again, it's a glue. Again, it's a connector. You linked your the second sentence with the first one. And then you can use some of the demonstrative pronouns. These are your demonstrative pronouns. So, theys, that, these, and those. Suppose, let's take example for this. Pollution is increasing rapidly. Can you see? This problem affects us all. This problem. Now, can you see what problem? Now, this problem. Pollution is a problem now. We didn't use pollution again, because if I use pollution, so pollution affects us all. So what does it mean? That I have repeated the word. Instead of that, what did I use? I used clear and visible. Clear, these are some of the glues that I have used. An examiner, he loves it. So this refers back to the previous sentence. And then you can use also substitutions like one, once, do, does, so, etc. Some people prefer public transport, clear? Others prefer private. So can you see private ones? So instead of like using transport again, I tried, clear, to substitutes the ones with what? For transport. So what if a student who writes, some people prefer public transport, others prefer private transport? So no, examiner, he doesn't like that. So instead of that, I use what? Once. And then there are some common mistakes the students they make. Let's start taking some of the examples. Pollution is a serious problem. Pollution affects health, and pollution must be stopped. Now look at these three sentences. And this is what like examiner, he doesn't like, because there's no linker. We haven't linked anything. And one thing more, there is no glue, proper glue. Another point is I have repeated pollution how many times? 3 times. Pollution, pollution, pollution. And this is what like, you always achieve 5 band, not more than 5 band. Achieving high band means what? Pollution is a serious problem. Okay, all right. It. Now we have used it. Instead of what? Pollution, we have used pronoun. And thus, and we use a linker, and thus, and therefore. Therefore, instead of therefore, we have used what? Thus. And thus must be stopped. Now, let's take example, compare the first one and the second one. We have used some of the pronouns, clear, and we have linked, we have glued our sentences properly without, clear, without showing, without like, using any of the big linking words, because if you try to use big linking words, so it won't help you to achieve high band in IELTS. Suppose, let's take example this one. The government should reduce taxes. So now can you see this is important? This is important. No, this is not the right one. What we can say? The government should reduce taxes. Such a measure is important for economic growth. Now, what is more important? This is important now. It's quite weak because we haven't explained it. Why is it important? And if what for is it important? But simply we have written what? That this is important. Instead of be specific with such a measure. Clear? Such a measure. Or we can say this policy or this approach. This approach is important for economic growth. This policy is important for economic growth. Like children need education, they needs. Can you see subject verb agreement? They. All right, you have used they for children, but what about needs? No, needs is incorrect. Why? Because it's plural subject, and with the plural we don't add any s. So healthcare too, and I have mentioned what too. No need. It's quite like weak sentence structure. What we can do? Children need education. They also. Instead of two, we can say also need that of healthcare. So these are some of the common mistakes that students they make, and then they lose their marks. And these are how we can fix them up. I will send you, and you can search. You can study them by yourself. Okay, this is what like your cohesion clear cheat sheet, three golden rules I mentioned here, and what we need to understand. These are the best linkers for task 2 that you can use. You can find in your book as well. And this is what like through three golden rules for cohesion and cohesion that number one, cohesion should be invisible. They should be invisible. Keep in your mind. If the examiner notices you are linking words, you are overusing them. A band 9 essay uses cohesive devices so naturally that they blend into the text. Aim for 1-2 linkers per paragraph maximum. Okay, not one at the start or every sentence. Rule number 2, reference beats repetition. So make sure the second part, before writing the same nouns twice, ask, can I use it? They, this, such, noun once instead. Replace repeated nouns with pronouns, demonstratives, and synonyms. This is what distinguishes band 7 from band 9. And rule number 3, that's every paragraph follows what? TSEL. TSEL means what? Topics, support, example, and L. Later on, we will study. If your paragraph does not clear have all these 4 elements, coherence suffers. Clear? So we will study inshallah. So after this, what is more important for you? All that's understanding lexical resource. The third part, clear, where you will get high band and Ielts. That's understanding lexical resource, vocabulary. 25% understanding lexical resource. So lexical resource criteria number 3, 25% of your Ielts task 2 score, and it measures 4 things. Number 1, range of vocabulary, accuracy, collocation, and spelling and word formation. So these 4 things you need to improve, Claire. If you have weakness in these 4 things, so you cannot get high band in IELTS writing then. First of all, do you use a wide variety of words? Do you have any like do you use like variety of words, or do you just only use basic ones, or do you repeat the same word again and again? IELTS does not like repetition. IELTS does not like basic vocabulary words, and there should be a variety of words. Number 1. Number 2, accuracy. Do you use words correctly with right meaning? This is something important. Like, for example, you need a noun, and what if you use a verb? If you need an adjective and you use an adverb, so that's totally wrong. So make sure you understand about word formation. And then it comes about collocation. Collocation means what? Words combine naturally. 2, 3, 4 words, you combine them naturally, and it gives you one word meaning. So collocation really matters. IELTS, and I mean, in among these all, collocation really matters. Collocation, try to use always try to use an adjective with a noun. For example, like this. Let me. What if I say? What if I say? I have. I have. For example, I have many students, and students as a noun. Like it's one word. And what if I say I have many intelligent students? So now look at this 2-word collocation, not only students, but intelligent student. So what I suggest you always try to use an adjective with a noun, and try to use an adverb with a verb. Two words, at least 2 or 3 words collocation, then you can use, okay? What if you say the Claire teacher teaches English, for example. So now, teacher teaches, all right, fine, it's a verb, but you haven't modified this verb. Try to modify it. Claire, teacher teaches, Claire, clearly. English, how? Clearly. So now, clearly modified teaches. So this is what like examiner he loves using if you know how to use adjectives and adverbs. And then what it comes about spelling and word formation, are you spellings and word forms, noun, verb, adjective correct? So if you're okay, you're good at, so you will achieve high band. And this is the band 9 C grade. Band 9 vocabulary is not about using big words. Keep in your mind. Okay, again, I would say the way I told you coherence and cohesion, that usually students they prefer using students they prefer clear they use more like those vivid type of linkers where examiner he doesn't like it. In the same way, examiner he doesn't want you to use big words, but what type of vocabulary clear, it means that using right word is more important than using that of big word. So it is about using the right word and the right context with natural collocations. This is important part, not big and fancy words. And a benign writer uses significant impact like this, significant impact instead of big impact. So there's difference between significant and big, not because significant is fancier, but because it collocates naturally with impact. Big does not properly collocate with impact, but significant properly collocate with impact. That's the biggest reason behind it. And what examiners look for? Do you use less common vocabulary? Less common means what? Instead of bad. So I don't say bad. I want to use clear, detrimental instead of using bad. Do your words collocate correctly? Raise awareness, not up awareness. What if a word you use with a noun and that's not properly doesn't collocate? So that's wrong. And do you paraphrase the question instead of copying it? Is your spelling accurate throughout the essay? And are your words formed correctly? Economic growth, not economy growth. We will study them, clear? So then we will study about collocations and how we can collocate verb plus noun, clear collocation. You can study them at home. I will share you the notes. And then you can use adjective plus noun. Like for example, instead of big problem, you can say significant problem, pressing problem. Good effect, no, beneficial. Bad effect, no. Clear adverse effect. Big difference, no. So this is what like these are the common vocabulary words. If you change them, so you can straight away get high band in IELTS. Like for example, then we can have adverb plus adjective, highly controversial, clear. And these are some of the adverb plus adjective that if you try to use them, it will help you achieve high band. And then there are some mistakes that you make, so make sure you understand. And then make sure that you know how to use different prepositions with nouns, like depend on, not depend off, suffer from, not suffer by, invest in, not invest on. So I've used the list. You can go through this. And there are some mistakes, common mistakes that you make, clear. So I have written there. You can go through and it will really help you out. And this is what like, the thing like 5 band students and 8+ band students never use big, good, bad, important, and many, clear. For that, I have given you what? These are the synonyms that you people can use more. So these are clear golden rules for vocabulary. Number one, collocation is king. And for the vocabulary, keep in your mind, what is king collocation? Band 9 is not about knowing more words. It's about knowing which word naturally go together. Learn words clear in chunk, take action, raise awareness, pay attention, conduct research. Vocabulary list without collocation is useless. And then accuracy beats complexity. One incorrectly used fancy word like clear, if you want to use wrongly, and hurts more than 10 corrected simple ones. So only use words clear whose meaning and usage you fully understand. Band 8 vocabulary used correctly, band 9 used wrongly. And for rule number 3, very clear, don't repeat. So before using any keyword for second time, ask, can I use synonym, pronoun, or repetition of words like clear, education 6 times in one paragraph, signals clear, a limit vocabulary, and caps you at band 6. So don't repeat. And then the last one, that's about grammar. So in grammar, we have 2 parts. Part number 1, that's range. And the second part is accuracy. What I mean by range? Range means the variety of sentence structures. Do you know about simple, compound, complex, conditional clauses, passives, relative, clear clauses, inversion, participles? This is what very important for understanding grammar. And after this, what is more accuracy? Accuracy means what? The percentage of sentence with no grammar errors. Articles, tenses, subject verb agreement, prepositions, punctuations, etc. So, simple, clear. Think of GRAs like a driving a car. Think of like a driving a car. Range, the number of gears you can shift through, first, second, third, reverse, etc. And accuracy, how smoothly you drive without clear crashing. Band 5 drivers use only first gear and still Band 9 drivers shift through all gears smoothly. You need both range and accuracy. You need both what? To use all gears. Along with that, you should know how to use them smoothly. One clear without, the other caps you at band 6. So this is how like we can go with band 9 and band 9 secret. Band 9 does not mean writing long sentences. Keep in mind, most of the time people, they will tell you that try to write down long sentences and you will get high band. No, that's not the right way. It means writing mix of short and long sentences, both. You can mix up both long and short and all work correctly. A band 9 writers, Claire, use a short punch a sentence after long complex, want to emphasize point. Length does not equal quality. Control equals quality. This is important. And then GRA, etc. How we can use modal verbs, clear. If you go through this, you will understand. And later on, we will study about all the grammar, sentence structures, etc. Already اشتغل عندي ठीक ده. ده amongst the 3 golden rules. Number 1, you need both variety and error-free sentences. Variety without accuracy, band 6. Accuracy without variety, band 6. Both together, plus 7 band. Rule number 2, make short and long sentence, both. A band 9 writer follow a 25% complex sentences with 6-word sample for emphasizing, and sentence length variation is important as structure variation. And rule number 3, always proofread for 2 minutes, the final one. Okay, so we have talked about 3 rules, like what is important for us, and then we will study, inshallah, all sentence structures one by one, how to use them. Clear? No, so writing ke inshallah karshta, we do have enough work. The کوشش کوم چې په یو هفته کې ختم شي خو seems like a bit difficult to finish it in 1 week, so maybe it takes 2 weeks then. عید نه مخکې به دا عید چوټیانو پور به دا وکړو